Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Mira Krishnaiah, and I'm a current senior from Proof School in San Francisco, California. My mentor is Shail, and today I'll be presenting an engineering project I worked on called Bloomboard. I'll start by talking about what led me to this project, how I developed it both during and after Polygence, and my plans for future development. For starters, let's talk about the mental health crisis that schools currently face. In recent years, particularly since the pandemic, the effect of the emotional well-being of a student on their academic performance is as evident as ever. The crisis resides in the fact that this issue of poor mental health in students is growing at an alarming rate. Research indicates that rates of depression and anxiety are drastically increasing, with even one study finding a 27% increase in anxiety and a 24% increase in depression in just 3 years, between 2016 and 2019. To make matters worse, access to care is difficult, and it shows. Almost 60% of youth who reported at least one major depressive episode a year did not receive any treatment. In some states, this number even goes up to 80%. Not even a third of youth diagnosed with serious depression received any treatment. One main reason for this is that mental health concerns in public schools aren't being supported, and social media creates a stigma around talking about mental health. This project is designed to bring awareness to the subject and hopefully some sense of support to the students. This issue is what drove my project's conception. I had two goals: safe emotional expression and educational material. On one hand, I wanted to give students a way to express their emotions in a very safe environment. On the other, I wanted to generate some educational material because the end goal of this was to bring attention to the issue of mental health. I wanted to incorporate school faculty and administration so they could identify emotional trends early on and reduce them before they escalate, like increased level of stress during the AP season. I felt that this could develop a strong sense of trust and belonging in a school and enhance a sense of community. This led me to my final project goal: allowing all students to have a way of anonymously showing how they're feeling. Done right, this can remove the stigma surrounding mental health and allow for an open and honest expression and conversation of the school's emotional state. With that in mind, I started thinking of a project. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I like building things, so I felt my efforts would best be used there. I started by doing some research, and I found that interactive displays were the most interesting. Two that I found were from a company called IDEO. IDEO is a design and consulting firm, and they've done projects ranging from dolls of popular movie characters to making better tools for dementia care and diagnosis. The two projects that I found the most useful were a flower installation and a butterfly wall. The flower installation is one that was implemented at Burning Man as just something that brought a little life, beauty, and love to the desert. These 20-foot tall flowers responded to the presence of people using a simple Arduino. I like this project because it used very simple materials and it looked absolutely spectacular at night. I also like the idea of using flowers to bring life to something. So from this project, I took the idea of using flowers that change color. The second project I took inspiration from was their butterfly wall. Each butterfly represents an employee, and if the employee is in office, they move if the employee is in office. It visually represents workplace engagement. I like the idea of seeing all individuals displayed on a wall, as it gives a sense of unison. I decided to combine these two projects to make a wall of robotic flowers that open and close and change color, where each flower represents a different student. I used my time during Polygence as a prototyping and learning phase. On the hardware side, my priorities were simplicity and easy manufacturing. I used readily available materials, from cardboard and masking tape to other slightly more precise tools that were available to me, namely 3D printed parts. To make assembly easy, I made everything slide into place. I also used simple electronics that I was familiar with. From the first iteration, I dreamed a proof of concept, but there were still plenty of issues, both in terms of the LED and the flimsiness of the material itself. For each issue that arose, I tried engineering a solution, from testing the rigidity of different thicknesses of filaments to making a stem that had built-in holes for the LED's wiring. The final version of the first flower looked like this. It was a 6-inch tall mechanical flower that changes color and opens and closes. Every part is 3D printed, allowing for easy assembly and lower cost. However, this was my first time using a computer-aided design software and creating 3D printed mechanisms. So this first version ended up flimsy, unreliable, and it wouldn't be suited for mass production. I realized that if I wanted to take this further, I would have to change the design. Before doing that though, I realized that I needed something to control the flower, a way for students to interact with it. So I decided to use this prototype flower as a way to test a website. The The software side of the project was by far the most challenging for me, as I'm very inexperienced with the coding knowledge necessary for creating a website. After watching YouTube videos and researching, I created a website from scratch using HTML, JavaScript, and C++. On the website, there were 5 buttons, 2 for opening and closing the flower, and 3 for changing the flower's color. By clicking a button, the website sends data to the Arduino, where then the Arduino decides what to do with it. While what I had at the time was a good starting point, I wanted to take it further. So after Polygence, I continued this project. First, I redesigned the robotic flower. I went through 3 more major designs. The first one, shown on the left, shrunk down the stem and focused on the print-in-place hinge-like mechanism. After a few iterations, I got it to the point of reliable functionality, but there was a certain handoff between the motor and the pedal that I felt I had overcomplicated. So I decided that while this could work, I wanted to explore other potential solutions. I removed this handoff by removing the stem entirely, and which led to the second design. The second design, shown on the right, included the use of bevel gears. These gears are angled in such a way that one horizontal gear could move a vertical gear. This version had 3 pieces: the blue gear that goes directly on the motor, the pedals, and the piece to hold in the motor. The entire flower was a print in place, so it was easy to produce and assemble. And after tweaking the gear angles, I too got it to the point of reliable functionality. However, I didn't like how the pedals were closing tangentially rather than perpendicularly to the gear. Instead of closing inwards, they were closing sideways. While this could work with a bit more modification to the pedal angle, when the pedals were folded, it didn't quite look like a flower, and I wanted it to look aesthetic, so I tried one more final design. This design used a worm gear, which allowed the pedals to fold inwards and sit directly on top of the motor. To hold the LED, I added a cap that stops right on top and a slot for the LED's wiring. This design is simple, reliable, easy to manufacture, and easy to assemble. This is what 24 flowers looks like on one board. And with that, we've completed the physical flower wall portion of the project, so the next step was to improve the website. I spent a long time on the hardware. The software side was really going to be the main part of the project because it's where the students would be able to express their emotions. My top 3 priorities for the website were emotional expression, educational material, and individual reporting. I designed a website to accomplish just this. The first part is emotional expression. The website allows students to log into an account and interact with an individual flower. Every day, it prompts them to select an emotion, shown by an emoji, then based on the emotion, the flower's LED will change color. Every day, if the student inputs an emotion, the flower opens up and remains open all day until the flower is closed at 5 p.m. This way, everyone can see the general mood of the school based on the colors on the flower wall. While this does already meet the goal of providing students an anonymous way to express their emotions, I want to take it one step further and provide administrators with a way to see trends over the course of a week, a month, and a year. So, I added a reports page. On this page, there's an all-school view to see the current emotional state of the school. This way, students can see it on both the physical flower wall and on their very own screen. There's also a button on the top right where users can see trends previously mentioned, namely what emotion was most common during a particular time frame. Finally, I wanted to give students the ability to track their own emotional trends and reach out if they need help. Their reports page looks like this. Currently, after all the fabrication is complete and the website has been finalized, I plan on implementing this at my own school. I believe that this can be expanded beyond schools, notably to companies. I would like to use the data gained in the first month to improve the website and the design, but more importantly, to improve or create mental health systems in schools. Thank you for listening. Any questions?
Thank you, Mira. I enjoyed it. I was so captivated by it. I forgot to check time for a minute and looked back over, and it had been 7 minutes. That is a very interesting thing. So, did you actually take it to your school?
So I'm currently still fabricating and assembling it. I have one version of the flower right here,
Oh, wow.
but I'm assembling the frames. Currently I have all the motors attached to it,
Uh-huh.
but it's still in the works. I hope to implement it soon though. Work in
I
progress.
mean, the thing that was really great about it is there's multiple layers to this project that I found fascinating, right? You had a problem, you then were inspired by the Burning Man flowers and then the wall of butterflies, right? But then then the development phase was good to see you go through that process of failure and redesign, failure and redesign. Um, and but the one thing I found great was the website. Um, the website actually had student count numbers next to it. Were those just test accounts, or had you actually get people to get into the website and choose their emotions?
Those are just test accounts.
Just the test accounts.
Yeah.
But I can imagine like that is a it accomplished your goal. It would be anonymous, and you'd be able to provide feedback to instructors who could then identify and then step in to mediate, because especially if that first statistic that you talked about, the 60% go untreated,
Mhm.
this is a very good way to do it. I thought it was very well done. And I thought that your process of how you went through the evolution of the development of the product was great. So I'll see if there's any questions from the group. But I really enjoyed it, and I hope that you keep us informed of if that project continues and exactly what happens with it, because I think it's a great way, especially given the mental health crisis of kids. It's a great way for them to have something fun to interact with that can also potentially lead to help if they need it. So super job, Mira. Thank you so much.
Thank you.